Hiranna kalja potokurshi hemoto. Hirannaya tokurani kimaya takalya tata. Nohutaya vishitanya kalya potahashaka. Hiropomati haryamukode. Ishtaya mukupala karanda krusha hyarata. I am here now in this moment. I am here now in this moment, expressing peace, expressing joy, expressing love. I am here now in this moment, expressing the truth of all things. I am here now in this moment, expressing my life as a joyful being of purity, of consciousness, and of grace. I am here now in this moment, becoming all that I came here to be. In every moment of life, I am expressing the divinity within me. As the truth of all things in every moment of life, I am expressing this pure divinity, this pure grace, and this pure truth. My life is divine. My life is pure. My life is free. My life is becoming all that it ever was, all that it ever will be, in this divine moment of peace. So we come together in these moments to experience the grace, the truth, and the peace of our inner being, our inner divine self, our inner dwelling place. We know that God's grace is the peace of all things. We know that God's grace is the truth of our dwelling place in all things. We know that as we speak these words, as we speak this truth, as we speak this divinity, the divine grace that is flowing through us is flowing through us in a conscious way, in a divine way, in a loving way. We secretly deny anything that is not ours because we do not want to belong to anything that is not ours anymore. We deny the grace that is given to us from beings who do not acknowledge their own grace within their own beings. We deny the grace that is given to us from beings who do not acknowledge the divinity of their own truth, right? We deny the grace that is given to us from beings who do not accept their own divinity. What is that calling that they've been given? What is that calling that they've been seeking? What is that calling that they ask for? We are divine beings. We are light beings. We are pure beings, right? Our purity rests within our truth, within our own being. So if someone is calling you out and saying, follow me, listen to me, be with me, do the things that I want you to do, see the things that I want you to see, right? And they're giving you grace from that place of understanding that is not true within their being, right? They're giving you grace from that place of understanding that is not true within the essence of all things. They're giving you grace from that place within their being that is not the truth of consciousness that we dwell in every moment and every day. So when these beings call out to you and say, come to me, sit with me, listen to me, what do we do? How do we respond? What is the reaction within our body? How do we deny that access to the truth within ourselves by listening to a being who is not consciously aware of the truth within themselves? So we're speaking about beings who have come here to be divine, but have not yet recognized that divinity within the truth of all things, right? We're speaking about beings who have come here to be divine, but have not yet recognized the divinity within the truth of all things. We're speaking about beings who have come here to be divine, but are yet seeking for that divinity within their own being. So when we consciously are aware that these beings are acting in a way that is not consciously pure, right? That is not consciously divine, that is not consciously aware. We accept that being within our heart. We accept that being within our love. We accept that being within our grace. But we must watch our own actions, right? In case that we decide to be with a being like this, we must watch our own actions. Because why would we sit with a being who has not yet discovered the inner essence of their own truth? Why would we sit with a being who has not yet discovered the inner essence of their own peace and their own grace? Why would we sit with a being who has not yet discovered the inner essence of their own truth and of their own peace? Is there a way to discover the inner essence of our own truth, being with the being who has not yet discovered the inner essence of their own truth? If we are asking them for grace, if we are asking them for peace, and if we are asking them for love, is there something within us that can see the divinity within ourselves without recognizing the divinity in other beings? See, the divinity within ourself is the divinity in all beings. The divinity within ourself is the truth in all beings. The divinity within our divinity is the divinity that rests within each and every being that we see. So if we are with a being who is asking us to sit and consciously allow their awareness to become part of our awareness, isn't it true that we should ask, have you become the divine light being of consciousness that you have come here to be? Have you become the divine light being of consciousness that you have asked of your own grace, of your own truth, and of your own peace? Is there an inner consciousness dwelling within the person that you are sitting with that is seeking them within their own being and showing them how to be the grace and the truth of their inner conscious state? So the asking is the dwelling place. The asking is the peace. The asking is the reminiscence of knowing someone deeply within our own being, within our own truth, within our own knowing. When I sit with another being and I'm asking that being to give me grace, and I'm asking that being to give me peace, and I'm asking that being to give me love, then I must sit in a way that allows that being to be who they truly are on the earth plane. I must sit with that being in a way that allows that being to be pure, to be divine, and to be true. I must sit with that being in a way that allows that being to access that consciousness within their own being, in the consciousness, in the grace, in the truth of all things. So I'm asking, do I see God's grace in everything I am doing, seeking, knowing, feeling? My beloved divine energy of truth that rests within my own being. Is it calling out an action, right? To be taken, to be seen, to be heard, to be felt? Is it calling out an action to be known, right? So we're wondering, who is this person that we're sitting with? Who is this person that we're knowing? Who is this person that we're feeling within our own being? And do we dive deeper into the essence of the quality of the manifestation of the grace? Do we dive deeper into the quality of the manifestation of the peace? Do we dive deeper into the quality of the manifestation of the energy that this being is presenting? Because if the purity of the being has not yet been seen within their own space of truth and peace and love, then we're seeing that the purity within our own being must be seen in a way that cannot be enveloped by another being, right? The purity of our own being must be seen in a way that cannot be enveloped by another being. We access our own truth and our own purity within our own being, and we need not seek from another being what dwells within us already. We need not seek within another being what dwells within us already. We need not seek within another being what dwells within us already. So I'm sitting here and I'm allowing this other being to be with me. I'm allowing this other being to seek with me. I'm allowing this other being to become with me who we already are, who we already see, who we already become. I'm allowing this other being to allow with me. I'm allowing this other being to become with me. I'm allowing this other being to access consciousness as we access consciousness in the grace of all things. But another being who is seeking themselves outwardly in another realm of consciousness, right? Not within the truth of their own being. Where do we seek for our own grace in that situation? Where do we seek for our own grace within that situation? Only within our own grace can this true beingness be seen. Only within our own grace can this true energy of consciousness be seen. Only within our own grace can this true divinity of consciousness be accessed and allowed to be one with all things. So when you consciously are aware of your own divine inner being, and you are consciously aware of the divine being of light that dwells within you and dwells within the other being, then we are a conscious awareness of truth, right? An energy of grace coming through each of us as the truth of all things. We are a divine energy of grace, sharing, accepting, and acknowledging the truth that runs between us. We are sharing, accepting, and acknowledging the truth that runs between us. So all we need to see is our own consciousness, our own grace, our own truth, and our own peace. And if we sit in another space, right, with another being who is wanting to give us grace, where is the grace being received? Where is the grace being given? And where is the grace being open to within our own being? So we open to the grace of truth, we open to the grace of love, and we open to the grace of the divinity within all things. That is the grace that we are receiving. We are receiving the grace of God's consciousness and God's bliss. We are receiving the grace that already dwells within us as the truth of all things. We are receiving the grace that already dwells within us as the truth of all things. So the grace that comes through another being is God's grace, right? The grace that comes through another being is the energy of consciousness and bliss and peace. The grace that comes through another being is not separate from our own energy of grace and peace. It is not separate from our own energy of bliss and consciousness. It is not separate from our own energy of the consciousness of all things. As we sit with another being and we give ourselves to that being in grace, in truth, in peace, we are merely giving ourselves to the energy of consciousness within our own being. We are merely giving ourselves to the energy of bliss, the energy of truth, and the energy of peace that is already dwelling within us in the consciousness of all things. That is how we are surrendering, that is how we are giving, and that is how we are receiving. Thank you, I love you, and I will be with you again on this subject of sitting with another being as the divine grace, as the divine truth, and as the divine peace of all things. We are divine, we are love, we are truth, we are peace, and we are energetic awakening coming through us now in the energy of all things.
Love is all you ever need.